Hello, how are you? I am the Faun. Welcome back for another week to your favorite opinion space, the Faun's Weekly. A few years ago, it was announced that to participate in the national qualifiers, you no longer needed to belong to a sports association, or better said, you no longer needed to be affiliated to a federation. As far as Taekwondo is concerned, he started a propaganda war on social media promoting an infamous hashtag, but without proposing anything. It was simply something like, "We're better than you, blah blah blah," and the campaign has continued to this day, although with less and less momentum. Also, during the event itself, there were a couple of idiotic attempts at sabotage perpetrated by the most primitive fans of the jerk who collects a paycheck like a president. Obviously, these were attempts that bore no fruit. Perhaps some of you remember a lady doing math on a napkin, the drama over not respecting a worthless ranking within the competition, threats to judges, and other such nonsense. Anyway, it's been many months since those first games under this format and a couple of additions. And it also seems that the attempts at sabotage are no longer taking place as such. They've already understood that it's something that's never going to happen. They don't have the power or the brains to be able to do something so big and so serious. That said, it doesn't mean they've given up. Realizing that sabotaging nationals with ADE isn't a viable thing to do, and don't think they're doing it for the athletes. No, the athletes don't matter. That should be clear in this instance to everyone who has any sense. They do it for their own egos. Well, realizing the impossible task they intended to perform, now it's no longer the sabotage itself, but the eagerness to mess everything up. Examples suffice, and you don't have to be a genius to see that this is the goal. Throughout the country, there have been cases where attempts have been made to hinder or simply dirty up the processes as much as possible. With what eagerness again, only they know. But in the meantime, and until all the regionals are finished, we're going to list some of the most scandalous cases that have arisen so far. Let's start with the case of Veracruz, which I mentioned in passing 8 days ago. In this state, athletes were charged for a state pre-selection. This was done with the complicity of the State Sports Institute and called upon the Veracruz State Taekwondo Competitive Clubs Union, or the FIMEX whorehouse in Veracruz, or as you know it, the state association chaired by Yasef Zamora, whom I've mentioned a couple of times in this space. He's the director of CONAF unofficially, or he was, because I think he's been somewhat demoted in recent years. Dates with everything and the 300 photos she has with Billy the Kid, I mean, she's a second-rate whore. For this event, they charged $1,700 for the token, and also the registration was conditioned to the normal state if you did not attend. The thing is that you were also required to buy the electronic startups, the helmet with mica, just to participate. You also had to qualify. It's more or less 5,000 pesos between everything they ask for. They have no shame. And another thing, the team that was announced as official for this event is KP&P, despite the fact that the national Conadio was held with Petos Daedo. Can anyone guess whose business KP&P is in Mexico? Of course, none other than Billy the Kid and his minions, so think about it the next time you buy something from this brand in this country. By the way, since you know this, know also that when I tell someone that they are a whore, I say it because it is true. The call for this event is in the description of the video. Right there we have the case of the Poblanos, who had already decided not to send anyone from their staff to the national stage, so don't find it strange that this year they come up with a similar gem. We also have the infamous AGU-TKD, that is the Association of Guanajuato, which tried to discourage participation from their state because they didn't organize it, supposedly because the conditions aren't entirely favorable for our members. There are many ways to say they're afraid of them. This is the most ridiculous. In Durango, the members from Lerdo didn't register and blocked the truck. A professor of anniversaries because if they don't go, no one else goes. I'll leave a link to the video of the incident. It's a hoot. Again, an association president involved. Red's case went viral in Tamaulipas a few days ago, and it could be analyzed from many angles, but what is certain is that in previous years, the athletes from that school had no reason to participate. Even in the video they uploaded, the association president refers to them as the state coaches. It's at least strange that things change overnight and without any warning. one more involving an association president. And we finish with this tour of the disgrace in the state of Mexico. Probably everyone already saw the videos of the teachers from the Hanso Association, but not only that, there are accusations of harassment against the head coach, cases of substance abuse among the athletes, threats of blockage if economic incentives are not given to the presidency. It's my favorite state. In addition to everything else, we must include the regionals that were scheduled for the same weekend as the President's Cup, which matters because it's an event that awards direct spots to the Pan American Games in Querétaro. Perfectly timed for the age groups that compete in nationals with ADE, so a lot of people have been forced to decide whether to fight in their regional or try their luck in Costa Rica, hoping to win a wildcard. It could have been a coincidence if it wasn't for the fact that several regionals were planned for that date. I mean, they couldn't have been a week earlier or a week later. And you know that we detectives don't believe in coincidences. And frankly, I hope that we don't see this kind of behavior anymore during the national stage, although I honestly doubt it. What I would ask is for all the good folks out there to try and document the mess as soon as they see it happening. I think showcasing them is a crucial part in order to stop these practices, and we all have a mobile in hand, so use it well. For now, I will be here at the President's Cup, and if they see me, they greet me, and I wish the best to those who bet on this ticket. That's the path. If you like me, please consider subscribing to the channel, giving the video a thumbs up, as well as turning on the notifications, and of course, telling a friend to share our content is the best way to support us. But if you also want to lend us a hand in a more tangible way, I invite you to check out the channel's memberships or take a look at the online store.